On today's episode, our guest is Adit. He is the head of product engineering for our RCM product at Commure. Right after graduating from UC Irvine, Adit joined as an intern doing software development and has now grown to heading an entire organization of engineers and product managers trying to transform healthcare through reliable, scalable, and cutting-edge technology. He has been working on the product since its inception, turning spreadsheets into a full-blown website that thousands of practice admin use every day to manage their front and back end office operations. Well, Adit, appreciate the time today, and thank you for being on the podcast. In terms of your transition, you started off as an intern here, and now you're leading up an entire engineering team. How does that feel? And what are some things you sort of think through, given sort of your background and now just how large the engineering team is?
Man, it feels kind of surreal. Now thinking about it, because I had to put a lot of work in and learn how to put a lot of work into this. I don't think it's unusual for me to commit 100% of my time to something. I've always done that with stuff I was interested in.
Yeah.
But really, I think I feel the most a lot of I don't know how to say it. I feel really grateful, and lucky, because a lot of my friends joined startups and left pretty fast, or didn't like who they were working with, didn't like their boss. And for some reason, the first 3-4 months I was here, I loved my boss, I loved my teammates, and they were all just looking out for me and taking care of me and making sure that I grow to my fullest potential as fast as possible. Yeah. And yeah, of course, that's going to help benefit the company in some way. But I think it just gave me a ton of confidence and, helped me get in touch with the confident kid I was versus the anxious, sad college student I was.
Yeah.
And
you talk about, it sounds like, everything was in place in terms of the environment here to help you succeed throughout the past few years. And I know just from recruiting on your team, you think about potential, especially as we think about external prospects and new hires. What's the framework around how you assess for that? Because that is contrary to what every other hiring manager wants to hire for, where it's directly a set of skills and that's all and they either have the skills or they don't, but you're the complete opposite. And so how do you sort of think through that?
Well, I'm a little biased, I guess, because I think I was hired for my potential. I didn't code in a FANG company. I didn't have a lot of hackathons under my belt or science fairs or anything like that. But I think Burke just saw that I was hungry and, gave me a shot. And he did it in a way that was less risky by giving me this internship. But I used it as an opportunity to just go after it. And so really what I learned was, and I've heard recruiters say this too, so you've probably heard this as well, but when you try and hire someone that checks off all the boxes, they get bored really fast. Yeah. They don't have room for growth. They don't feel like the company is contributing to them as well. And I really get excited when someone has 60% of the boxes checked and, wants to go after it the same way I did. And when I kind of tell them my story about how things worked out for me here, I hope that I don't know, I see some sort of spark or I see some sort of enthusiasm about that. Yeah. And hopefully then they come in and together we work on the rest of the 40%. Just I don't know, I've seen it here too, where people come in and they meet all the requirements, but yeah, they don't stay. They're not missionaries in those cases a lot that can help charter a path for the rest of the employees that are going to join.
Is there anything that you think about specifically when you're assessing for sort of potential or looking for potential?
I mean, I think this is arbitrary, but the person who's interviewing, they're interviewing on their personal laptop, and I look for signs that they actually code on that laptop.
Yeah.
And it's not just homework assignments. It's not just work projects. It's they have Python installed or they have VS Code installed, and they have when you see at Delos, project for the interview, you see other projects alongside it, not just a bunch of interview projects that they had to do. And I think that's, and then watching them kind of navigate on their computer, do they actually do this every day for fun, or do they only do it when they're told? I kind of look for that stuff, and it's not always obvious. Sometimes it's more obvious on the resume. Sometimes it's obvious in the way they talk. But like, yeah, the second we get on the call, I'm watching your screen and how you navigate your computer. And if I see potential there, like someone's typing super fast, and again, this is kind of arbitrary, but like, I'm like, okay, cool. Like they know all the shortcuts. They know how to navigate and kind of execute quickly. And it's funny because in school I did audio engineering. So I worked on like Logic Pro X and Pro Tools and all that stuff, and I recorded vocalists, kids who rapped and sang.
That's pretty cool.
And it's funny, like when you go work at a studio like in LA, these rappers, they're writing really fast. Like the beat will go up and they'll write the whole song right in front of you. And then they'll notice if you can't keep up with them when they're recording. So they'll be like, I've heard them insult engineers who be like, oh, they don't know the shortcuts, or they don't know the hotkeys. Yeah. And it's like they're using the mouse too much, you know? And it's like people pick up on this stuff if you're trying to fake it. Yeah. And so yeah, like if a producer's doing audio engineering for the day, it's pretty obvious if they can't, you know, make sure they get every take, help the vocalist like work through the song, and then like keep up. So yeah, I guess I noticed that like that matters and started using it every day.
Is that your side job, producing music?
It was my primary target and goal before all this stuff. Yeah. But now I haven't done it a couple of years.
That's pretty cool. We talk about this a lot as we think about sort of potential and looking for that in candidates. And it's this notion of age and experience does not necessarily equal wisdom. And I know that you challenge that on a daily basis. How do you do that? And how do you think about that just moving forward?
Man, I actually haven't been very good at doing it, at least starting off here. I was pretty nervous to go talk to some of these, you know, business owners. Are they going to look at this like kid and be like, what the hell is going on? Like, why are you managing my money? But just real quick, like Tanae and Drew just like shut that down. I said like, maybe someone else should talk to this guy over this escalation, or maybe someone else should go on site. And they were like, no, dude, like stop thinking like that. Like You're very capable. Like you know more than they will for the rest of their lives about RCM and like dealing with these payers and like managing not just one site but hundreds of sites. So just be confident in yourself. And at first like it didn't really stick, but then I started trying to notice people that exemplified, you know, age and wisdom, but at a young age. I just went to Indian Wells 2 weeks ago and I saw Alcaraz play.
Yeah.
And he's 21 and he's like number 3 in the world at tennis. It's just like so obvious that you don't have to wait to get older to be wise and mature and methodical. You just need to, you know, really care about your craft and be passionate and like find good mentors and get support, and then like let your personality kind of do the rest of it. So yeah, it's out there. Like you just start noticing like younger people taking over, especially in code, like when you're coding.
Yeah. You talk about it through RCM as a product and working with these providers or execs at these healthcare systems. We'll have to sort of transition to RCM as a product. You know, you've built that essentially from the ground up. Mm-hmm. And as you mentioned, in terms of young talent, you know, you kind of seen this from inception, and now it's one of our fastest growing products. Mm-hmm. So we'd love to hear more from you in regards to what is RCM actually, and then two, what is it trying to solve?
It's trying to solve that, like, those repetitive, mundane, rote tasks that people do in their practices every day that make them feel like they're doing a great job, but really they could be focusing their attention on way higher leverage tasks. And this is like, and I don't have to be so explicit about the work because it's just administrative work, regardless, either like accounting, tying out like payments that you're getting from payers to your bank account, or, you know, talking on the phone with patients, i.e. customers, about, you know, their next visit, how they're feeling, their bills they have to pay, or it's checking in patients. All this like really like mundane work can be solved through either workflow automation or just pure automation in software. And like really what we're building here is like a full vertical suite of tools to either like analyze and understand how your practice is doing. Is it healthy? Or, you know, and that would be like you looking at your practice at like a 50,000 foot view, like a CFO, or getting down to the lowest level possible, that 5 foot view where you're working a claim or an outstanding balance, and you have every suite of tools and a kind of like a database of knowledge to work through that problem and kind of fight the payer. At the end of the day, like these payers have a ton of software to reduce risk. So deny claims is a nicer way to saying it, reducing risk. And like none of our practices, we go to like, I don't know, the middle of the country, none of these practices have like software that supports fighting back. And a lot of them, the way they deal with like payers is they know the people that represent those payers and they end up going and talking to them. But if you don't have that luxury, if you're not a big enough practice, if you're not a big enough whale, they don't make time for you. So if we can get everyone on like one platform, one like PT groups can start coming together. I know that there's some laws against this, but there's safe ways of doing it, and kind of like demanding better outcomes from payers and better payments. But two, it just makes like the patient experience, the doctor's experience, and staff's experience when they go into work and when they go to get care, just much simpler and easier.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool what we end up building. Like healthcare is a really tough space to navigate. And I know here we have like Sutter, Stanford, all these people that have invested a lot of time and money into tech to make this process easier for us. And also just like get us to pay our bills. But the reality of it is like the rest of the country's in debt, medical debt. They don't want to pay their bills. They don't understand why they have a bill. These practices don't have a suite of software just working for them 24/7, whether that's, you know, basic automations or LLMs. And when they sign up for us, we handle all the billing, we handle all the payer issues, but they just get that suite of software right off the bat. And that's really what RCM product or insights is. That's what I work on.
Yeah.
I don't spend too much time extracting the data or submitting it to payers, but I do spend a lot of time making sure that practices understand what's going on and the product kind of lays it out for them in a nice way.
Yeah. I'm super excited because I think revenue cycle management as a product is essentially operationalizing and automating a lot of sort of front desk and back end sort of operations for these small practices all the way up to large enterprise like healthcare systems. What do you think is the future of RCM as a product?
I mean, I was just writing stuff about this yesterday because I'm trying to, like, our website has so many tabs and tools. I'm trying to figure out how to, you know, get everything to converge. And I don't want it to just be like a chat bot, you know, like a lot of websites are replaced with chat bots right now. But really, like, I think the future of the product is trying to make it as seamless as possible. Like obviously, like that was like, I think Uber's goal is like seamless, frictionless, whatever it is, but you still have to get in the car and you still like the car, you're not going to just appear somewhere. So I think the website is going to stay up and like users are going to kind of have to navigate through it, but it's going to be something that they hopefully set and forget for long periods of time, and it's just working for them in the background. Um, for example, if you have a ton of outstanding balances, bunch of patients that owe like a large amount of money, right now staff just calls them one by one, and I think that would be pretty frustrating to go through every single day.
Yeah.
I believe that we could put in either some LLM caller or some text interface, something, or anything upstream when you're collecting that insurance information to prevent this in the first place. We could have it so that staff, or we have it so that staff just sets and forgets it, and that automation is running for them. It's kind of like a operator giving you updates on a daily basis, and you moving to focus on taking care of your patients, or spending time with your family, and leaving work at a reasonable time, and actually eating lunch. So yeah, I see the future just being a lot less like a lot less of you deep within the software, using it to fix your problems, but just configuring it, setting it up, and letting it kind of run for you on the side.
There's been a huge craze around sort of AI and LLMs. Do you see that being implemented into the core RCM product as well?
Yeah. I think like it'll be like your biller, and it'll be the equivalent to Jarvis like type, right? Like you just have a biller
That'd be
that
awesome.
answers all your questions, and it'll support you when you're interacting with patients. Even like the way Scribe is just kind of listening right now for doctors, I believe that it'll also help doctors in the future, give them feedback. But yeah, I think the future that LLMs is presenting to us is just you have like in your pocket like a expert biller, and you shouldn't feel scared kind of navigating through the process, whether you're admin or a patient.
Yeah. I want to go back to sort of how you think about in your philosophy around growing the team. Your team is much larger now over the past 3 years. And we talk a lot about sort of culture. We talk a lot about, the people that we bring on board. Are they coworkers? Are they friends? What are your sort of general thoughts on that?
I don't know what the right answer here is. I think they're definitely friends. And I mean, they're definitely coworkers, but they're definitely both. And I think like you end up spending more time with these people than your own family. I don't know if like you guys did marching band or something where
I
you
did.
end up, yeah. So you'd know when you did marching band, you were doing 20 hours a week of marching band minimum. And like I think I see my parents or my family like, I don't know, my sister twice a year, and my parents like maybe 5 hours a week, maybe less, maybe more. So I think like they start off as coworkers, and you go through kind of some shared experiences together, whether that's a tight sprint with a tight deadline, whether that's an angry customer that you de-escalate together, whether you sell together, whether you build something amazing together. You go through these shared experiences, and then because that stuff happens so quickly and so often here, you become friends right away. And all of a sudden, you're getting dinner together. You're not just chatting about work, but you're just chatting about, all the parts of life that matter to you. And you're checking in on them when work is tough, when things are tough.
Yeah.
You'll notice like, a lot of your coworkers are going through, someone in their family is sick, someone in their family is injured, they're injured. Like it's not as perfect as like the office layout, like everyone's lives are pretty difficult. And so you start sharing those experiences, and you start learning a lot about how to respect people's, not personality is not the right, but respect people's like, complex and dynamic lives, and yeah, and eventually like you're not just working together, but you're just looking out for each other all the time. So you become good friends, and that's just what happens.
How do you think about scaling that as the team continues to grow?
Yeah, I mean like from a business perspective, I feel like what you need to do is you have like this. I think you've probably heard like other CEOs say this, and that's why it's coming out of me now. But you have like your cult, like your DNA, you know,
Yeah.
and you need to ensure that like everybody that comes in has the same is of the, cut from the same cloth kind of DNA.
Yeah.
Um, and in some places, I feel like that's more challenging because it's hard to notice when someone is, you know, not a great fit. Maybe harder, but I feel like over here it's pretty obvious, and it doesn't have to come from, you know, the core leadership team. That person who joins instantly knows, okay, this is not the place for me. I'm not cut from this cloth. Um, and I've had conversations with people who felt that early on
Mm-hmm.
too, and like had to kind of talk them through um, either why they're right or why they're wrong. Um, so so yeah, how do I think about it? At least here, like it hasn't been a huge problem or issue. I feel like a lot of people that joined, they're just bought into the mission,
Yeah.
and they're really excited. And then if they're not, it just shows instantly. And we have that conversation. Hey, maybe this isn't the place for you. Um, let's figure out what is, and you know, either part ways
Yeah.
or change how we do things here. I think what's really cool though, and I tell this to my whole team, uh, the culture here, and I don't know, the DNA, the metaphorical DNA that I'm describing, is actually pretty malleable. And a lot of people don't feel that, especially now that we're so much bigger.
Yeah.
But like, if you want to work somewhere for 5, 10 years, right? Let's not, you know, join someplace and then jump 2 years later, but let's actually compound on what we're building here. You have to have that, you know, that feeling that you can be an agent of change. And so from early days, I don't know why I had this confidence, maybe because we were just like 20 engineers or less, but I never looked to our C-suite to kind of determine our like our engineering culture. Like obviously they did, and they were super impactful. But I never was like, oh, like Drew isn't planning an outing, so we're just not going to do an offsite this quarter, and we're not going to hang out. We're not going to go to dinner because you know it's leadership didn't say it's okay explicitly. Yeah. I always just said like, guys, what do you want to do? Like we just need to tell him. He's obviously focused on other things at the moment, so we just need to tell him what we want, and we can go do it. We can go, you know, play laser tag and go like hit golf balls and go to dinners, like nice dinners, and go out and dance, and really we can do whatever we want, as long as like, you know, we care about the work. Like we should care about, you know, hanging out and spending time together. And so yeah, I kind of like realized like it's all the powers, like we have all the power we need to get,
it's all within your
to
control.
like, yeah, kind of like
Yeah.
like, you know, make this culture what we want to make it. And I just made sure like my whole team knows that. And if there's like a way we operate that they don't like, or if there's regardless of work, like if there's like something they want to do outside of work, like, and like an opportunity, a lot of these guys, like, you know, they came from Canada, or they're visiting from Brazil, and, you know, they just want to go to Tahoe and see what it's like, and like go to, I don't know, Santa Cruz and actually surf, you know, like we'll just do that, you know, like just tell me what you need to get it done. And also like you don't even need me anymore. You can just make a chat, and a lot of them do that. Like the Severance finale came out, and there was a whole Severance watch party, and I wasn't even invited. Like, but I guess I don't watch Severance, but like, yeah, the team is kind of, you know, shaping the culture, and it's pretty awesome to see. I think like, I think over here they give us that freedom, and the work culture, it's very easy for it to kind of spread because you see it work, or you see it kind of succeed. At least like say we're working on a project together, and I have my kind of own method for getting things done. We, you know, meet every morning and do a little stand up. We We have check-ins. We talk to the client the whole time. I don't know, we actually test our work in production, and we have like a little release process. We send the comms out internally, make sure everyone's on board. All this stuff that like the work, the way we get work done. Once like my team does it with me and they see it work successfully, it just shows up in their stand-ups and their meetings as well. And so that part is not so hard, at least, to kind of disseminate or make sure is happening. Yeah. It's really the outside of work stuff that you need to encourage people to go after.
Yeah. What's your one last piece of advice for folks that are looking to get into a similar position like yourself, where you had an opportunity, you seized the opportunity, and now you're thinking about the future? And I'm curious, what's your one advice you would give someone in that situation?
I don't want it to sound grim, so I'm trying to think of something that's like, but it's like the first thing that came to mind was the word sacrifice, and it sounds like I don't want that to sound like negative. Like, don't sacrifice obviously the parts of you that make you a human being, and make you happy. But like, it was a lot of like sacrifice, and it was like explicit, and I had to tell my friends and my girlfriend and my family, like, hey, I love you guys, and if you love me too, just know this is what my priorities are. And being real with myself, not trying to like, I don't know, fake it in any way. That like, this is my number one thing, and I'm going to dedicate myself to it. It's not going to be my whole life. It's not going to be all the time, but this is where my focus is at. And I think like, it's a very like, having an all in or nothing mentality can just help you accelerate in a space like this, especially, which is just, I don't know, it's a very supportive space. So yeah, someone in similar position, say, you know, you've been trying to get a job out of school for like 6 months or a year, and it's not working, and you don't want to go back to any of the other internships you did because you didn't love them, or you know, maybe you don't feel super confident in your abilities as a coder or as a employee in general. Just like, as long as you're prepared to make a few sacrifices and, you know, put the work in, you're going to do just fine. And like, growth your first year of your job, like 100% growth, 200% growth, that's the expectation, or that should be the expectation and that's the expectation you should set with your boss, with your friends, family, whatever. It's like, hey, I'm joining this thing, I care about it, and I'm going to go as hard as I can. At least this first year, just to kind of get, you know, my bearings straight. And so, yeah, that would be my advice, is all in or nothing.
Awesome. Well, dude, I appreciate the time, and excited to see you continue to grow out your team, and excited to see the work that you do on RCM product.
Thank you. I appreciate it.